good morning, everyone. Good morning. Folks, this year I have been very clear that my goal is to run through the tape. And my goal is to run to the tape to the very end, December 31st. Now, we've done a lot of work over the course of the last 8 years, but I'm here to tell you all there's still more work to be done. And it's been my goal to complete that work and hand this city off to its next leader in better shape than when I received it. And the bottom line is that many of you all know I love Richmond. I love this city. I've lived here for 20 years. I met my wife here. I'm raising my daughter here. This will be my home for a very, very long time. It's a wonderful city. And you all know that I am the eternal optimist when I think about the future of Richmond. So today, I wanted to start with this. There have been some who have said that we have not been transparent enough or visible enough. But this year alone, I have participated in over 60 public events. Let me repeat. I've appeared at 60 public events over the course of the last 8 months. That's including the time I took for paternity leave. Now, I understand that those in the media cannot be at every single event, but I do see some of you all very frequently. Mr. Lane, Mr. Ress, I see you all a lot. You all see me. I've availed myself for questions on a regular basis, and I know that you all seem to always have questions. And if you are not knowing, you don't know where I am around the city, we can easily put you on a list. I know Gianni can handle that in the near future. You're going to be seeing a whole lot of me over the course of the next 140 days. That being said, I want to call this press conference today to answer your questions and to correct the record. I pride myself on being an successful mayor. I've been probably the most successful mayor over the course of the last 20 years in this form of government. So like I said, you'll be seeing a whole lot more of me over the course of the next 140 days. So today, I have a few updates, and then I will take some of your questions. Firstly, I want to address the recent reporting around Richmond's P-card program. As many of you all know, when I first came into office, I initiated a performance review of every single city department, top to bottom. And one of the important recommendations that came out of that review was to establish a P-card program. That program would increase our efficiency and also earn cash back that will be returned to the general fund. I can recall 8 years ago, sitting in Sydney Park as a candidate for mayor, with a former city council person, talking about the inefficiencies of City Hall. And he gave me an example as I sat on that bench, that this bench could be rickety and broken. The residents of the city of Richmond would want it to be fixed. But we would have to go through the purchase order process and go through procurement. And what could be fixed easily would take months on end to repair. He said at the time, we could easily go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and purchase the material or the screws to fix the bench, but that's not how our city works. I wanted to put an end to such practices. Now, P-cards are a best practice that cities all across America utilize on a daily basis. That being said, recent reporting from one of our outlets has stated there has been an apparent, quote unquote, P-card violations by approved users. Today, I'm here to be very clear with you all. 99% of our P-card holders are in good standing. Let me repeat, 99% of P-card holders are in good standing. Out of 336 employees with a P-card, only 5 are currently suspended. 3 at the office of the city's registrar, the voter registrar, and 2 for the Office of Strategic Communications. Let me repeat that. 3 in an office that does not report to the city administration, but to the electoral board, and 2 at the Office of Strategic Communications. One of those employees no longer works for the city of Richmond. Now, I'm not saying that the program is perfect. You won't ever catch me saying that any program and any government entity, whether federal, state, or local, is perfect. However, the P-card program puts trust in the directors of various offices and the card holders themselves. It puts trust into them to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And our procurement office has been working diligently to monitor this program and ensure everyone is compliant with our policies, while also ensuring that the city of Richmond is able to be an effective and efficient government. But let me be clear. If there are repeated violations, or you violate your policy, our policy, or take advantage of the system, the bottom line is you will be held accountable. You will be held accountable. Now, on that topic, I want to give a big shout out to those who work in the procurement department, because several weeks ago, the department received the Achievement in Excellence in Procurement Award from the National Procurement Institute. Now, only 4 Virginia entities were among the 194 national honorees. This recognition is a testament to the hard work and the commitment of all of our hardworking employees, particularly those in the Department of Procurement Services. And just to close this topic off real quick, in my fiscal year 2025 budget, we included funding to grow the Department of Procurement Services and increasing the accountability measures in the department. That's why we set aside funds in that budget for 4 new procurement officers. They will join this department to make it even stronger. And they will assist with accountability and efficiency. Additionally, we also have set aside funds for internal control, an internal control assessment of the P-card program, to ensure that this program is running efficiently and to close any loopholes. So, despite what some might say, our procurement department is top-notch. And I will not let the poor judgment of some define the work of all of these employees, period. Switching gears. I have some exciting news from our Department of Public Utilities. Just in case you missed it, this week we announced the Department of Public Utilities has finalized an agreement with the Oracle Corporation to enhance the customer's journey through modernized operations and increased self-service options. And with Oracle's software as a service solution set, DPU will modernize its customer information system to provide a flexible, robust solution designed to keep pace with the industry's rapidly changing trends. And throughout my time as mayor, it's been challenging to modernize our utility services and provide the best customer service possible. But by picking and selecting Oracle as our new vendor for this project, the city can continue to improve gas, water, sewer, solid waste, and stormwater services. Now the focus shifts to build out this new system that will be customized for the DPU's gas and water customers. So in sum, this will allow customers to more easily track their usage, see how much they owe, and pay their bills from the comfort of their homes. Now, even though this update won't go live until spring of 2026, which is past the end of my term, I am proud that we are able to lay the groundwork for the improvement over at DPU. While I'm here on DPU, we just found out that our combined sewer overflow final plan was also approved recently by the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality. That's a big deal. For those who have been tracking our work around the CSO, this is a giant step forward for the city. And I'm incredibly proud of the team that completed this work. I also want to give a big shout out to the Director of Department of Public Utilities, April Bingham, who's with us today as well. Give her a round of applause, y'all. Come on. She's been leading the effort of being about the fix over at DPU, and her expertise and can-do attitude has shown up each and every day for the city of Richmond and its customers. Thank you, April, for your work. And just to underscore that point, I've been told that projects like this normally take several weeks, emphasis on the several, for approval. We were able to do it in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Again, thank you so much, April. A message to our residents. I want you to know that our administration is dedicated to reducing the overflows and improving the water quality over the James River. And we are focused on updating this very old and antiquated infrastructure that parallels the river as well. I also want you to know that we cannot ask our residents and our businesses to just shoulder the cost of this major project. There's been talk in the past that it should be the customers who should pay for the $650 million in upgrades. I think that's absolutely awful for our residents and our customers. The Commonwealth of Virginia is going to have to step up. They have goals and mandates in line for us by 2035. They're going to have to help us make some of these investments. There's no way that the city of Richmond can shoulder this burden alone. Now, we've been able to get that estimate down to $650 million compared to the $1 billion that it was some years ago. I thank you for the engineering that's going on the side of DPU for working us to get there, but we still are a ways away from where we need to go. So it's my hope that the General Assembly hears me and they know that we need more investment pronto, ASAP. Lastly, before taking some questions, I want to touch on the Diamond District project. As you all know, and some of you have already reported it, dirt is moving over at the Diamond District. And this is no small feat. And I'll take any chance that I get to talk about how historic of a moment this is for the city of Richmond to be working towards a new stadium over at the Diamond District. This is a promise that Richmond made to the Squirrels over a decade ago. I think roughly 14 years ago when the Braves left the city. Previous administrations said that we were going to build a new baseball park for this new team that had arrived in Richmond. And fast forward 14 years later, nothing had ever been done. There have been proposals. Remember Shockoe Bottom? They talked about it at Gas Works. A number of options were presented, but nothing ever got off the ground. And today, here in 2024, we are prepared to begin work that will allow for Richmonders to enjoy a new stadium in the spring of 2026. Now, this was not a one-man show. I am grateful for the work of those who've worked on this project. You know, we've sold the bonds at a low rate now, a lower rate than we were expecting. That's a big deal, 3.99%, I believe. Those who worked on this project, the CAO, Chief Administrative Officer Lincoln Saunders, Sharon Ebert, Leonard Sledge, who now has gone on to Hampton, Matt Welch as well, the acting Economic Development Director. We need to thank them for their hard work in those many, many meetings, negotiations with our partners. Now we will have a groundbreaking here very soon. That announcement is to come. I want you all to be aware that we were set to do this groundbreaking last week, but Tropical Storm Debbie had other plans. And as you all may know, the EDA, the Economic Development Authority, is meeting virtually tonight. They're going to meet at 5:30 to approve the development agreement, and lease with the squirrels tonight. Big deal. This approval and signing of the two documents is a key milestone for the project and will allow construction to begin so we can get ourselves into that stadium spring of 2026. Furthermore, under this stadium lease agreement, the city will use the lease revenues to fund the public infrastructure bond payments as well. But not only will there be a new baseball stadium, as you all know, the Diamond District will provide a new home for some small businesses, for residents. It will provide thousands of jobs for Richmonders, and will also provide community benefits like the 10-acre park that will be coming as well. Folks, the squirrels have been such an incredible partner for over the last decade. Many Richmonders, new Richmonders, longtime Richmonders have expressed this is something they've wanted to see. And I'm grateful for their willingness and their patience to wait as long as they have and continue to stay right here in Richmond. So we're going to be creating more memories over at this new Diamond ballpark come 2026. Now, before I take some questions, I want to say one last thing. City Hall isn't perfect. City Hall isn't perfect. This is an organization made up of individuals, but we work together as a team. And no one individual, as my grandmother would say, is perfect. Only one person was ever perfect. And you saw what happened to him. I remember my grandma saying that on a regular basis. We are not perfect. We're a constant work in progress. And we can't solve every problem all at once. But we have to remember where we came from to understand where we are going. I've always asked that you all not compare me to the Almighty, but compare me to the alternative. That's all I ask. Don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative. We can't solve everything at once. But I promise you that everyone here on the front lines, some of these employees who are with us this morning, they wake up with Richmond on their mind, day in and day out. When they get out of bed, they have this city on their mind. Not simply as an employer that gives them a paycheck every 2 weeks, but because they love this city. They could work anywhere in this state, but they've chosen to work right here in Richmond. And I want you all to know that I'm grateful that you all have chosen us as your place of employment. I truly am. But I want you all to know, and all the residents out there, that frankly, I'm tired of people shit-talking my city. I really am. There is an election going on this year. And I hear a lot about pushing paper, but not a lot about pushing the envelope. And when you are in this seat, you have to be a both-and artist. It can't be an either-or. You have to make sure the pushing the paper part is right, but also you have to push the envelope as well. And it's my hope, as we have less than 90 days until the election, that we hear a little bit more about what pushing the envelope may look like over the course of the next decade, because that's the work that's remaining for this city. Our roles, the roles of everyone here, is all temporary. It's temporary. No one is here forever. We may got some folks who've been here for 40 or 50 years for City Hall, but no one is here forever. Our time is finite. I get the baton, and my job is to hand the baton to the next leader. And their job is to take this city to the next level. And I'm telling you all here today that Richmond is better than it was a decade ago. Not just the people in general, the city in general. The City Hall is better than it was 10 years ago. That's a fact. That's a fact. So it's my hope we recognize these public servants who come to this place we call City Hall every day, who give us their blood, sweat, and tears. And just for the knowledge of others, the stats don't lie. An 11% population growth over the last decade, 22% reduction in poverty since 2017, 22% reduction in violent crime since 2017, a 58% increase in funding for Richmond public schools since 2017, 5,000 new affordable housing units in the city since 2017, 140 new acres of parkland in the city since 2017, a 99% increase in the real estate tax base value over the last decade. 99% increase. A AAA bond rating. A AAA bond rating in Richmond, Virginia. And last but not least, the number one place to live, the number one place to visit in the United States of America. That's the city of Richmond. And these folks helped make it happen. I'm incredibly proud of this city. They know it. Y'all should know it as well. Now I'll take some questions. Gianni will do the directing.
Dave, you got a question?
Mr. Mayor, my mind's always in the gutter, so I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what the DEQ decision about financing actually means. We've been looking at the stuff that we're going in the river already. Will there be an end to overflowing the river? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
The question was about the DEQ approvals. Will there be an end to the overflows into the river? Well, that is the goal, David. That is the goal, to end these overflows when it rains or there's a broken pipe because of the antiquated system we currently have. We're not there yet, but it's our hope that we can, I guess by 2029, we can start securing some of these contracts. But we're not there yet in terms of the funding that we need. I think we're a third of the way there of the $650 million. We need the other 2/3. And it's my hope that the Commonwealth of Virginia plays a major role in investing in the fix. We've done our part. We will continue to do our part. But there's no way that the residents and the ratepayers can burden this load. We're going to need the Commonwealth to step up.
Have you got a sense of what DPU did to bring the forward-looking cost down from $1 billion to $650?
Yes, there was some, I forget the phrase. They were asking about how we brought the price down. Well, I'll have April speak with you about, some of the engineering that occurred that allowed us to bring the cost down from the $1 billion to $650 million.
Follow-up question on a different subject.
Yep.
You had talked about the lease agreement providing funding for infrastructure.
Yep.
Is that in addition to funding the bond for the stadium itself?
In addition, no, this is just the final agreement. Exactly.
Tyler?
Hi, Mayor.
Hey, Tyler.
You're making yourself available. We just received information yesterday that the finance department fired 6 lower-level, newly hired employees in the business unit. They say without a clear explanation, and they're now saying that they were sent into a toxic work environment that was chaotic.
That's exactly what we're dealing with. The question was about addressing the issues at the finance department from the top down, not simply just the bottom up. First, let me tell you this. The director that we have at the Department of Finance is a fixer, and I'm grateful for the work of Sheila White. And let me tell you why. For years on end, there were some who saw the fires in the Department of Finance, and instead of putting the fire out or running into the fire, they turned the other way. I'm grateful for her work because she's willing to run into the fire for the fix. There are not a lot of people who are willing to do that. And it means sometimes people are going to get mad at you. People aren't going to like the fix, but it's necessary because this is a department who's responsible for the care and stewardship of the taxpayers' dollars. And so what has occurred at the finance department is the right direction. We have a standard of excellence, particularly when we're handling the finances of our residents. And if you cannot meet that standard, you will not be employed by the city of Richmond, bottom line.
So you don't think that this is a leadership issue at all?
Absolutely not.
I'm sure you're aware all of the council candidates, including sitting council members right now, just said they do not support your finance director.
Guess what? It's an election year, isn't it? When's the election? Less than 90 days, correct?
I'm aware of that.
Okay. Some of these members of council have been on council for 8 years or 8 years or more and haven't said a word. But now, when asked a question at an event, what do? Capitulate. This is the best finance director the city's had in over a decade plus. She's one of the reasons why we have a AAA credit rating from Wall Street. So, I'm not even gonna go any further, but I will tell you this. She's about to fix. They're trying to win an election. We're going to focus on keeping the standard at excellence instead of mediocre. Okay?
And those lower level employees typically deserve to lose their jobs.
If they weren't meeting the standard of excellence, you're not going to be working here.
We got one over here.
Sir, I want to ask about the Richmond Inspector General. The Inspector General hasn't posted a public report in the last 5 years. City Code says the report webpage needs to be maintained, but the last report was in 2019.
The Inspector General, the question is about the Inspector General has not posted a report in the last 5 years. The Inspector General is an employee of the City Council. It's my hope that there are reports and investigations that have occurred, that the Inspector General will post those reports to the public so they can see it. It's my hope that I'll communicate with Councilwoman, Council President Nye on the fix. I hope it's an easy fix, but I do know that the Inspector General is doing work. That's without a doubt. But I'll talk to the City Council about that.
Samuel?
I just wanted to see follow up on Tyler's question. Are you confirming that 6 employees were fired from the finance department? Can you say when that happened?
I don't know exactly, but I do know there are some employees who are no longer working in the finance department, working for the city of Richmond.
Okay, and that's as of this week?
I don't know the time frame. I know it's recent.
Gotcha, okay.
Yes.
Follow-up question. You previously said that 99% of P-card holders are in good standing.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask, are you saying that 99% haven't had their cards suspended, or are you saying 99% have followed all the rules and haven't spoken to them?
99% of our cardholders are in good standing. There was a process and protocols are in place, right? When we started this program, we also had to work in accountability into the structure as well. The procurement office, department will obviously have conversations and questions about the usage. If the person does not respond immediately, there are obviously accountability measures that will be take place that will lead to suspension. Only 2 city cards have been suspended, and one of those employees no longer works for the city of Richmond.
So are there cases where rules have been broken and maybe cards haven't been suspended, and those people are still technically in good standing in procurement?
There are moments in which the director or those over at procurement will ask questions about charges, but most of the charges that you have presented to the public have received approvals from the procurement office.
Can I follow up on that later?
Sure.
You talked about transparency and answering questions.
Yeah.
I brought a number of those charges to the city's attention and asked about them on July 9th, and the
Is it true that you all have sat down with the chief administrative officer? Have you done that?
I have not sat down with
Have you sat down with the deputy chief administrative officer?
I have not sat down.
Have you sat down with the procurement office?
I have tried to sit down with the procurement office. I've been denied that interview.
You've not sat down with the procurement director or spoken to the procurement
I
director.
sat down with the procurement director prior to our second story about the apparent violations. I tried to get a follow-up when we got the P-card logs and found apparent violations. I was not able to sit down with them. We reached out to set up an appointment. That appointment was not set up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Michael Paul.
what is the status of the billboard situation involving South Oakville African American?
To Dave's question. We are having conversations with Lamar at the moment. Conversations have been had, but a resolution has not been had. And so it's our hope that we can find a resolution. I'm willing to listen, but as you know how I already feel about it, that billboard should not be in use any further moving forward into the future.
Now, what you had said was there was a 6-for-1 swap.
There was that time, yeah.
Still the case, or what's on the table now?
I would prefer to keep our conversations private at the moment, and once I hear something that is amenable, acceptable for the city, I will be sure to report it to the public. Right now, I have not seen anything that's acceptable.
Will the billboard come down once any sort of arrangement?
That is our hope. Obviously, there is some engineering that's involved. We know that there are souls that are resting there at the moment, and we want to avoid any sort of disturbance moving forward. And so that obviously will have to be taken into consideration when you talk about removal. There are, I think, I don't forget how many, but two main, there's a foundation that goes deep into the land, the earth already. If that disturbs the rest of the souls who are lying there, we would have to reconsider some options. Okay?
So the city is unwilling to do the 6-for-1 swap, is that what I'm hearing?
I said that the last time, unwilling. Yeah, that was reported the last time I said I was unwilling to do that.
I know you said you'd like to deliver the city center project before end of
Yeah.
office. What steps are you taking currently to ensure that that delivery happens?
Well, we are in negotiations with our two finalists. Obviously, I have to find an agreement that's acceptable not just to my team, but also to the taxpayers for the future. At the end of the day, we are requiring them to build us a 500-room hotel on the side of the Coliseum so we can actually get the full use of our convention center moving forward. This is the type of growth in our city that will extend into the next decade. And so once we can find an agreement that is truly beneficial to the city, you will have a selection announcement. We'll make a selection announcement then.
What has been the response from the city council members, especially Robertson, who covers that area when it comes to the city center?
Well, obviously, it's necessary. You see, the current Coliseum is functionally obsolete. It's blight, and people are ready for it to be demolished and something new in its place. And so there are a number of parcels north of Broad Street that are underutilized, aren't bringing any revenue into the city. We need to find solutions to create another line of revenue for the city, and that property right there could mean millions for the future.
Can you share with us who the developers potentially are and what timeline there is to bring?
I don't know the actual names of the developers, but I believe that we've announced already in the past who the two finalists were.
When do you think council will get to know this?
You know, it's my hope that, well, remember, this is already over at the EDA. So the EDA, we've already transferred the land, conveyed the land to the Economic Development Authority. And so they will make any final decisions moving forward. But right now, working with GRECA, the Greater Richmond Convention Center Authority, we're trying to find a final developer for the project. We're not there yet, but we are close.
Can I ask a quick follow-up?
Sure.
Ms. Burke's leaving.
Mhm.
You kind of framed it here is that there was an infraction and she is no longer with the city because the city deemed that relationship to be over, but she left. So were there, other than having her P-card suspended, did she not leave? Is it?
I mean, that's been reported that she resigned.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I'm saying, like, the way you just phrased it kind of made it seem like someone did something improper and then left.
No, there's no intentionality behind that. Just those are the facts that she no longer works for the city of Richmond.
Graham? So you said City Hall isn't perfect. It seems like a lot of the candidates running for your job would use much stronger language than that they're kind of running on the city and that there's just unacceptable levels of dysfunction here. Do you think that's a fair view of City Hall, or is that overly?
Hell no. Hell no, that's not a fair view of City Hall. And I don't know who they're trying to cater to as well. At the end of the day, there have been missteps, but in the past, what you would see when there were missteps is a total ignored, there's nothing here to see, we're not going to fix it, and we're just going to give it to the next, kick the can down the road for the next mayor to handle, or the next mayor to handle after that. We refuse to do that. If there's a problem that's been identified, whether by the public, by the residents, by the media, we do our best to fix that problem. And sometimes to fix isn't acceptable to some. But at the end of the day, that's what I require of those who choose to work here in the city of Richmond. If you're not about to fix, you shouldn't be working here.
We got one more at 12.
So, I know that there was some meals tax issues a few months back for restaurants. Is there any updates on those issues in the restaurant side dealing with that?
Actually, I believe I do have some updates for you on the mills tax issue. Okay, we are continuing to work with our friends in the business community on the mills tax issue. We are working hard to address any concerns that might still be out there with our businesses on this front. Now, our review includes reviewing each account for allowable relief, and then looking at their filing and also their payment history. Now, 604 total businesses are under review, have been under review. 125 of them are inactive businesses. 200 were disqualified and sent a notification of such that they were not eligible for relief. 200. 279 do qualify for some relief and have also been contacted. And 120 of the businesses, we've completed their review. Now, the change in culture there is that we are now focused on a more high-touch customer service approach, high-touch customer service approach, and that means by land, sea, and air, we're going to reach out to you. So, email, postal service mail. We're going to do sit-downs. We're going to reach you by phone. We're going to do everything we can to get in front of you and hopefully provide you with some relief if you are eligible. Now, if you have any other questions, or you are a business that may have some questions about your mills tax, we ask that you email us at millstax@rva.gov.
Are the business owners being asked to sign NDAs when you reach a settlement with them?
I believe they are, yes.
Can you explain why?
I think it's because it involves tax relief information as well. But I can also provide you, make sure the Finance Committee team provides you with the reason behind that as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last one for Graham.
Okay.
Are you planning to make an endorsement in the mayor's race, and have any candidates sought your endorsement?
Candidates have sought my endorsement, yes. That is true. I have sat down with, I think, every mayoral candidate, and I told every mayoral candidate that I do plan on making a selection, an endorsement in the race. Here's the thing. Those residents who have supported me for the last 8 years, where they live and who they've supported in the past. And right now, many of the residents are undecided. Many residents are undecided, it's period. And I will tell you why I think they're undecided. There has been an inability in the candidates who are running to illustrate what the future of Richmond looks like. It's one thing to say what you're going to do over here at 900 East Broad Street, but what are you going to do for the 60 square miles and the 230,000 residents who live in the city? How are you going to ensure that a young black boy who grows up in Hillside is going to live a life in which he can thrive? How are you going to ensure that we have more affordable housing? What are you going to do? And it's my hope for those here who are here and before me that you all ask them the tough questions about what are you going to do in the future of Richmond? Like I said, I hear a lot about pushing paper. I don't hear a lot about pushing the envelope. I don't hear that. And why the residents are undecided on their selection of who the next mayor is going to be, because they don't hear anyone illustrating that vision. A part of this job is about vision casting. Give me an idea of what type of city we are going to be in a decade. Because there's a good chance that you may hold this office for 8 years. And right now, what residents are telling me, Mayor, I don't have a clue who should replace, who should succeed you. And I join them. I don't have a clue either. Once they start providing a more robust vision of what the future may look like, I think hopefully I'll have an idea. Right now, I don't have one.
Regarding the city's electoral college, the 5 of 9,
Yeah.
does it really make any sense anymore? I mean, that was designed to protect black voters. And the city is no longer majority black. And the districts are no longer, the total districts are no longer majority black. What is the point of that anymore?
No, I think it still does matter. Because in a multi-candidate race, like the one that the mayoral race is, could simply just hang out in the west end of the city, in the fan and in the museum district, and drive up those totals and win the election. And ignore the vote of those who live in South Side, those who live in the East End, and those who live in North Side. And even though there are more white voters, white residents than black residents now, I still believe that black residents' voices matter. That's why the system was set up. So you can't just, pitch a tent in the West End, in Windsor Farms, in the fan, in the museum district, and just drive out the vote tallies there. You have to create a broad-based coalition across the city to win this election. Doug Wilder did it, Dwight Jones did it, and I did it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Dave. Good to see you in person. Yeah, you too. Yeah. Did you hang out? Have you met